Have you ever finished your prayer, folded the mat, and stepped back into life, only to feel the same stress waiting? Emails still piling up, children still arguing, deadlines still knocking. You ask yourself quietly, does prayer really change anything? Why do my struggles remain the same? The heart longs for relief, yet the world outside looks unchanged. It feels like carrying yesterday's emotional garbage into today, only dressed in new clothes. You bow, you rise, but the invisible weight doesn't lift. What if prayer is not meant to be a button that fixes the outside world instantly? What if it is a seed planted in the unseen? A seed that blooms in ways deeper than the eye can catch. Ibn Arabi once said, the prayer is a meeting with God. And in that meeting, the heart itself is watered. The real question, then, is not what changes outside you after prayer, but what begins to bloom inside. Ibn Arabi lived in turbulent times. Wars shook cities. Exile tested his endurance. Betrayal haunted his circle. Yet in his writings, prayer appears not as an escape, but as an anchor. His serenity did not come from a peaceful world, but from what prayer bloomed inside him. Many treat prayer like a trade. I give my words, you give me results. But Ibn Arabi warned, this is the ego's labyrinth. You circle the same demands, yet never find the exit. The ego measures prayer by outcomes, but the spirit measures prayer by transformation. Instead of a bargain, he described prayer as watering an inner garden. Each bow is a drop, each word a ray of light. What blooms is not always immediate, but roots strengthen silently. Just as seeds break the soil unseen before sprouting, prayer first transforms the inner soil. The flower comes later. Prayer, he said, is also a mirror. When you stand before God, you polish that mirror and begin to see what lives inside you. Anger, pride, or fear appear, not as failures, but as unveilings. The soul shows its shadows so that light can enter. The ultimate fruit of prayer is Insan al-Kamil, the perfected human being. Prayer trains you to embody divine qualities, mercy, patience, wisdom. Each cycle bends the ego, lifts the soul, and aligns you closer to the eternal. Though surrounded by hardship, Ibn Arabi carried an inner serenity no exile could take away. Prayer was his soil work, and from it bloomed a garden of peace. If prayer waters the inner garden, how do you carry its blossoms into daily life? Your world is not much different from Ibn Arabi's. Instead of wars, you face endless deadlines. Instead of exile, you may feel isolated by betrayal, or drowned by the noise of social media. The ego wants quick fixes. It whispers, if prayer worked, this problem would be gone. But Ibn Arabi invites you to see prayer as a shift of perception. One of his students once prayed for his enemies to change. Time passed, and he realized that prayer had changed him instead. It softened resentment. It birthed compassion. The enemies were no longer monsters, they were mirrors revealing his pride. After prayer, sit in silence. Imagine your life already written by divine handwriting. Instead of chasing control, step into trust. When tension rises through the day, recall your prayer. Ask yourself, what seed of patience or humility is asked to bloom here? At night, reflect with gratitude. Where did mercy bloom in hardship? Where did wisdom shine through delay? Prayer turns memory into a garden of gratitude. Modern science echoes this. Mindfulness rewires the brain, reducing reactivity. Emotional contagion shows that calm presence softens others. Neuroplasticity confirms that repetition shapes new pathways, just as daily prayer shapes the soul's garden. Even small acts matter. one mindful breath before reacting, one grateful reflection before sleeping. These tiny blossoms carry the fragrance of prayer into the everyday. So what blooms after prayer? Not magic that bends the outside world instantly, but qualities that bloom within you. Patience, serenity, compassion. Prayer is soil work. It prepares the ground of your being. Slowly blossoms grow, and they spread beyond you. When one heart blooms, its fragrance touches others. A single prayerful soul can soften a family. A single calm presence can ease a workplace. Unity grows one soul at a time. Your blossoms inspire others. A calm response cools anger. A gentle word heals wounds. Prayer's bloom is contagious. But if you pray only for worldly gain or spiritual pride, you plant thorns instead of flowers. Prayer's true fruit, Ibn Arabi said, is sincerity. Just as mindfulness reshapes the brain, prayer reshapes the soul. Both science and Sufism agree, consistent practice transforms. And so we end where Ibn Arabi began. What blooms after prayer is not always seen in the world, but always felt in the heart. Step into prayer, and you step into the eternal garden. And remember, flowers don't bloom overnight, but they bloom.